The second speaker I want to introduce is Dr. Julia Puaschunder. So Julia is a prize fellow at the Inter-University Consortium of New York at the New School. And she has placements, or she holds placements with Columbia University and Princeton University. But what's also very impressive, she not only held these positions, but she also held several postdoctoral positions from Harvard University to Vienna University of Economics and Business, to the Australian National University and the Ludwig Maximilian University of Munich in Germany, and also the Open Society Institute and Soros Foundation in New York. And basically, with her knowledge as a behavioral economist, which she was educated in, with 2 doctorates. So the one is in social and economic sciences, and the other one is in natural sciences. And on top, she holds several master degrees, for instance, in business, public administration, philosophy, and psychology. And she's trained in global political economy and finance. And to her achievements, she was then 2018 awarded the Albert Nelson Marquis Prize, Lifetime Achievement Award, and is listed in the Marquis Who's Who in America and in the world among the top 3% of professionals around the globe since 2018. So, Julia, it's also a very great honor to have you here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for a most exciting presentation, Dr. Schmelzig. I saw the write-up of your paper in the Süddeutsche Zeitung, and I couldn't believe that you brought this out right before the coronavirus broke. And thank you so much, Diplom Engineer Dr. Siegfried Schamer, who had the audacity, the excellence, and the technological brilliance to put this exciting panel together. Thank you, Isabel Lederer, Luise Prierling, and Felix Zottel for organizing us and letting us shine here today. So I want to speak a bit about the Digi-Disruption and economic trends about around the COVID-19 crisis. So prior to COVID-19, we had this decade of globalization kind of slowing down when you look at trade in goods and services, but also in foreign direct investments going down for a decade. We saw that cross-border bank loans and other financial transactions around the globe seem to be slowing, and S&P 500 sales abroad and gross capital flows were kind of stagnant. We had a reshoring of global value chains around the globe. So, that means that production came closer to where goods are consumed. And we saw the first shadows of globalization in the interconnectedness of finance in the 2008-9 world financial recession. But also back in 2013 already, a research group on emergent risks at Princeton University spoke about what it means that globalization started this ongoing trend of traveling on a constant basis. The entire globe is constantly on the flux, and what that means in terms of contagion risks. Politics started to become more homeland focused, and the EU had this drift in exit talks. Also, the decade pre-COVID-19 was the decade when skilled and unskilled labor started to divide more and more. There was really a gap in the labor market, and from there followed that a share of countries catching up was kind of going down. So international development had problems. But where globalization was still going through the roof, where we had an exponential growth, was the growth in data transfer, as you can see here in the chart. COVID-19 really now exacerbated this trend. We all became all of a sudden an online workforce with global outreach and flexibility due to cut red tape. We saw tech innovations coming out everywhere, especially in the healthcare apps tracking of our touch points, Telemedicine recently came to Austria. I just heard that Austria has a telemedicine solution by now. That's the #1 download on Google Play apps. So congratulations to Austria there. And the Bluetooth tracking of our touch points, whom we met. You can have a cartography on where people are connecting as a COVID pandemic prevention measure, but also we saw the tracking, the Bluetooth tracking of medical devices that should help in fraud prevention, in bottleneck problems, but also in terms of privacy protection if I do not track patients anymore, but only medication. International differences in digitalization became really apparent in the COVID-19 crisis. Asia and the former Soviet bloc started censoring online whistleblowers. They had the most excellent performance when it comes to compliance to mobile crowd control and monitoring. The US came in with market leaders starting to pool data in the healthcare sector, but also showed sometimes this American freedom of speech, information overload, survival of the fittest information. They are sometimes deadlocked relevant communication. And the EU upheld the mandate of privacy protection in the idea to collect and harvest big data, harvest network effects. And data information is peculiar in that sense that it's non-rivalrous if it's online. So my reading of information doesn't take anything away from your opportunity to read the same information. And you do have network effects. The more information you have, the better it gets, the more complex decision making you can have. And this is different than any normal other good. If I eat an apple, it's gone for everyone else. And if I eat 20 apples at once, my utility, my joy of eating another apple decreases steadily. But information is different. I'm not taking anything away if I take it, if I read it online, and I can make complex decisions. Post-COVID-19, where will the world go? I expect that we will see more future global healthcare going into artificial intelligence, big data, and robotics. I currently conduct research around the globe. I look into a data set from pretty much all the countries in the world, and I find that artificial intelligence and big data comes out of corners that are less corrupt. So corners in the world that are not perceived as corrupt bring out artificial intelligence solutions. This is how it would look in Europe. The greener the country, the less corrupt, and the the more globally connected we are. And the beauty of this is that a lack of corruption, so uncorrupt places, are usually also those countries that have a really good general health care. What do we do out of this? I cartographed all countries in the world and plotted them based on their internet connectivity and corruption perception. And I derived that the quadrant that's on the right downwards, those are the countries that are less corrupt and highly connected, and they potentially have the better potential to lead the world on global solutions for a pandemic. And here you see Austria pretty good on in terms of less, or it's perceived as not corrupt, and pretty good on internet connectivity. So coming out of Austria as a technician and an engineer, you have the best opportunities to lead the world on global artificial intelligence solutions against or to protect against pandemics. How will society change? And thank you so much, Dr. Schmelzing, for this enlightening insights. I do believe that we do have, with coronavirus being harder on elder and people with pre-existing conditions, I do think that we will have societal changes that evolutionary dominant and younger people will be the corona survivors. They might have better market opportunities. That also came out nicely from Dr. Schmelzing's excellent presentation. And I do believe, because I did studies on intergenerational equity, and I found in 2011 by analyzing the scripts from 110 experts that spoke in a European conference on justice, responsibility for the future. They found the #1 priority to look into the reform of the pension system of the elder or aging Western world population. So if you sum that up, that corona might be harder on elder people, we might see fiscal space that was calculated into our budgets being relieved from corona being harder on elder people, just when you look at the economic side. I'm not speaking about the social misery that's created. So, but from the economic perspective, we will see fiscal space becoming available. Survivors, they have this self-determination. They want to break with the status quo. I just got briefed by someone who is analyzing the relation of COVID and the society and the state. And he feels a sentiment in society that people are questioning the status quo. There will be a self-determination in the survivors in the face of death. Eccentric consumption might bloom, and we might see a drive to luxury. But how do we channel luxury into becoming an economic factor, into becoming a societal driver of progress and change? I conducted just recently, right before the crisis came down, studies at the Metropolitan Museum of Art on how luxury transformed into societal progress and as an economic driver. And what I found is, for one, you need a gestalt in luxury that's larger than its components. Here you see this beautiful ensemble that comes out of Europe. It's currently exhibited at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. And it was too beautiful, the gestalt, this ensemble of a table, of the mirror, the candle holders, to be melted and made into pure money. Because the gestalt was larger than its components, and it survived very many centuries, very many different regimes. You need a common goods fostering social identity in collective experiences. You need luxury to embrace. Even if you cannot possess it, it has to have a common goods purpose, and it can strengthen the social identity. Here, two other beautiful exponents from the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Two drums that were used to make large announcements, that were used as crowd control for festivities, but also to go into war, to get the crowd mobilized to go into war together for a common purpose. Also, a massive amount of silver never melted and made into ordinary money, because the gestalt and the common goods purpose was larger than regular consumption. And then for the technicians, I can say groundbreaking innovations. One of the most groundbreaking innovations, one of the most highly cited innovations ever, the Turk. The Turk came from Maria Theresia. It's often cited as the first endeavor to create a computer, and it was used to play chess, mechanized. There was some cheating going on. Later, people found out, so someone was sitting actually and navigating this first computer. But groundbreaking innovations that showcase that human beings have a mastery over the world and over nature, that create a buzz. In those, we accept luxury. How does this transpose to the current time? Luxury implementation in the digital age. We must not discriminate against excellence, against innovation, against driving of progress. We have heaps of information how to not discriminate against weakness. We need legal attention to not discriminate excellence and bundling of luxury if it transposes to a common good. Common goods, information exchange. one more time, information has the beauty, it's non-rivalrous. I'm not taking anything away from watching a YouTube video from you. And I do have network effects. The more information I hoard, the more complex connections I can see, and create a multiple emotional gratification experiences in a collective experience online. Today's panel, an excellent contribution to, I look forward to the discussion, to discuss with all of you. And this is a completely different feeling than presenting at an ordinary conference where I fly in and just discuss with 5 experts that I might already know. The Renaissance was also attention to values. We saw that people were done with the status quo, and they looked back into the ethics of where society should go. And I currently see also 3 dimensions where values and ethics needs to be integrated into the digital age. Information sharing and privacy, which is a predicament that boils down to utility from sharing information and dignity in privacy. Ethics in terms of untaxed data gains, and a monopoly of the top big data reaping corporations. Here the S&P 500, the top 6 corporations are by now data mining companies that are doing this untaxed and upholding a monopoly. And then the aspect of finding digitalization, human interaction, not clog us with too much information, really have algorithms that filter out what is necessary, and make or have a compatibility with the new technologies and the digitalization that we are having these days. And here I'm back to the Turk, saying that we need a compatibility of technology and human minds.
Thank you for this inside talk. Like this insights was amazing. And we have a question from the audience. So how is corruption measured in research, in your research? Did you take it into account, or yeah?
Just briefly, in the interest of time, I'm currently working with Yale University on this question, and we see that artificial intelligence seems to come out of non-corrupt areas of the world. Okay, great. Thank you so much. I hope this answered the question. If not, just raise it again, or like come up with follow-up questions.